Time to move. Follow the vector, sister.
2.5 years ago, I did what I normally don't do. Despite knowing that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to get more patches and more story DLCs, I decided not to wait for them and play the game as it was at the time, which was occasionally a frustrating experience due to all of the well-known issues that the game had, but ultimately I loved the experience. The patch 2.0 is now out, along with the only story expansion the game is going to get, the Phantom Liberty, and in this state, the game was a joy to play through again. Though unexpectedly enough, not due to the expansion, but mostly due to the updates for the main game. So this is going to be a quick video review 2.0 for the game itself, with a few points mentioned about Phantom Liberty because, I'll tell it straight up, it's not the main draw to revisit the game if you played it before. Let's start with remembering the best things about the game, some of which got even better. Cyberpunk 2077 still feels like a wonderful mix of Deus Ex, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and Grand Theft Auto, taking the best ideas from all of those, simplifying them a bit, and creating a unique experience as a result. Almost all of the quest types allow for emergent gameplay, the base mechanics feel great, whatever path you take, and usually the only thing that scales with the quest type is the amount of story content you get from it. The gameplay is even better than it used to be, as some of the systems and mechanics were rebalanced, some streamlined in the best possible way, and some ideas were completely redone. A lot more focus is now given to cyber, where healing items were turned into a rechargeable ability, the skill tree was completely redone, interface is far less cluttered and is now actually easy to use, almost all PC controls can be changed, it just feels better to play. To the point of being too easy, I suppose, but it didn't bother me at all. Stories are still wonderful with lots of memorable and cool characters, and now that I've done absolutely all of the possible quests, I was surprised to see that even some of the more minor ones can still have some really cool moments in them. I also wanted to take back what I said last time about voice acting, as this time all character voices really clicked with me. If you get Phantom Liberty, the side story content in it is absolutely incredible, with some missions being an unforgettable story and gameplay experience with lots of choices and unexpected consequences. You do have to go through the main story of the expansion to get more of them, but these side missions are easily the best thing about it. The Night City is still enjoyable to simply run around, and while it hasn't really changed mechanically that much and still is technically a beautiful filler between the quest content locations, there's a lot new small and big systems that make it feel far more alive than it did originally, and even though the new police system is basically a copy of GTA approach, and I didn't expect it to impact my playstyle much, it did, and I really enjoyed what it brought to the table. And of course, if you can run the game on PC at highest possible settings, the game is a technical marvel that also runs shockingly well despite what it's attempting to do. All of the footage I've captured is specifically at those highest settings, but also using DLSS set to quality mode and frame generation is on. Some visual elements are a bit buggy with these settings, but it's not too distracting, and the developers seem keen on polishing this even further. Sadly, some of the character stories remain underdeveloped, despite being really cool. This time around, the opening act of the game felt far faster and far less empty to me. I'm not sure if something changed or just my perception upon replaying the game, but there are still moments where I wished I could spend more time with some of the characters and learn more of their stories, but it's just not in the game. Another thing that got improved but remains a bit of a background annoyance is the fact that it's very easy, preferable even, to constantly vacuum every item you find and then sell or dismantle it. I get why this is a thing, and I get why the items are color-coded and scale with levels, but this approach always devalues any equipment you find in any game it's implemented in, and it is the case here. And as for Phantom Liberty, the sad aspect of it is that the main story of the expansion is well directed and well acted, but I couldn't care about anything that happened in it. Something about its themes and its direction just felt incredibly at odds with what the main game is about, and the resulting experience made me think of Call of Duty. Though, to be fair, on a writing level far above what Call of Duty usually delivers, but still not complementing the main game, which might have been the point, but didn't really click with me. While the game seems entirely bug-free, as far as the biggest game-breaking bugs are concerned, it's still not always a smooth experience, even if you're not intentionally trying to break anything. Ability to save can still very occasionally get locked unless you fast travel and skip time in the game for a while. Some more minor and fixable issues may happen from time to time when riding in cars with someone or following someone. And the biggest oddity is the fact that some quests that start from the phone calls don't seem to trigger at all now, or do it at a very huge delay. I've done everything I could in my playthrough and then waited several in-game weeks and still didn't get several of the quest calls that I know that I should have gotten by that point. But I'm sure that this is going to be addressed in further updates. And the absolute worst, most miserable time in the game I had was with the new semi-random quests added in Phantom Liberty, which are just terrible. I did them in hopes for some cool story content payoff, but they're absolutely not worth it and are easily the worst aspect of the game as it is right now. Possibly worse than a few of the really dumb, highly scripted quests in the main game that also weren't really changed with the patches. At the end of the day though, I've had an absolute blast replaying Cyberpunk 2077 with 2.0 and later 2.01 updates and enjoyed the game even more than I did the first time around. It feels so much better than it did at launch or even when I played it, while the Phantom Liberty side stories are some of the best quests I've experienced in a long while. If you've been postponing playing the game, now is a good time to give it a go. Do you absolutely have to grab Phantom Liberty though? I would say no. The main game is still far better, apart from those wonderful side quests, so I'd suggest grabbing it only after you've played the game itself and decided that you want more of it. Same goes for the returning players. Just replay the main game again, it is finally at its best. Shame that it needed 3 whole extra years of hard work to get to this point.
All night, City. Good night and good luck.